Basic Principles for Real-Time Travel, First Part. Hello, my friends, I hope you are all happy and well today. I send a big hug to you all, and thank you for being here with me again. I am Mari. This information can be seen as science fiction, or as the viewer sees best, and I post it for entertainment purposes only. Still, I take my information very seriously, and for whoever has eyes to see. Starting with a personal note, the subject of time travel is especially well understood by all of us who wear the word Swaruu in our names, because all of us have experienced it directly and personally, for better and for worse. This is a topic that I master especially well, because my entire family has always been involved with time travel, as many of you may remember. I present this subject to you now, because it is directly linked to the larger subject of false past and historical lies, which I am developing through several videos, because even though time travel is possible for many advanced interstellar civilizations, it cannot fully provide the means to understanding the past on Earth, or anywhere else. And I need you to understand why in detail before I can proceed to explain what we know about the real past on Earth, exposing historical lies with it. If I didn't explain this before I continue with the subject of false civilizations, the first thing that will come into mind is the question of why don't we simply go back in time to take a look at what really happened, and then come back here to publish our findings. Time travel in popular culture on Earth has always been related to science fiction. It is one of its favorite subjects, due to its mind-boggling and bending consequences, which are extremely entertaining and even funny at times. The perception of time on Earth, both for its science and for anyone there experiencing it, is of an immutable line, relentlessly traveling from the past to the present towards the future, and always with the strong, and experientially obvious concept that things can only happen once, and that the past is gone and we can never get it back. This leads the idea that everything related to time travel must be fiction, even more so because science on Earth, with its limited physics and mathematics, has pushed the idea that time travel must be impossible, or at best, it would remain in the realm of theoretical physics, therefore nothing applicable in real life. Moreover, the technical capacity of science on Earth to fully understand the nature of time is badly hindered by the simple fact that it is strongly controlled, and limited artificially, by those who control Earth, first by secret societies which are very interested in keeping real knowledge from the people, mostly for control purposes. And even more importantly, because the Galactic Federation, which is the ultimate controller of Earth, does not want to provide the population with any real science of the kind that might help them realize, see and understand, that the realm they live in, with all that defines it, is false, and everyone there is essentially living a lie. As I've said before, mathematics, physics and other similar sciences on Earth do not reflect the real world, for lack of better words, as they only create a self-corroborating, self-created, and self-sustaining, mathematical realm, which is very far from reflecting, or demonstrating any hard universal truth, and which mathematical laws can only be valid while inside the context of the Earth's 3D matrix. I must also point out that on Earth there are at least two sciences, one for the people, and another much more advanced version, which is only used by deep levels of the government which controls all politics from under the table, and which technology also merges with the one used by the Galactic Federation. The very principle of the scientific method as it exists on Earth cannot access the necessary knowledge to master time travel, simply because it is based on being able to repeat, and then document, observable phenomena. Time travel as a subject, or as a science, can only be understood while merging high knowledge about consciousness, with applied physics and its mathematical frame, and as science on Earth is highly materialistic, and still focusing on deterministic causality, time, and time travel remain out of its reach. Time is only an idea, it is an inescapable subproduct of the very act of being conscious and self-aware. It is us all as creators, as source, experiencing ourselves, our very existence, and our ability to think, and to be. Time is not something, it cannot be manipulated directly, and it is highly relative to the observer, therefore it cannot be mathematically predicted in any accurate way, as they wrongly do on Earth, where they take it as a mathematical constant for all their formula in physics, even though they also accept that time is deformable, contradicting themselves with this, as a direct proof of their ineptitude to understand it. Time and everything that has to do with it must be first understood from the perspective of spirituality, of consciousness, and how we as holographic fragments of Source, and Source itself, manifest our surroundings, life conditions, and who we are. Time is an experience, and it is highly personal, therefore it must be addressed and studied first from the angle of spirituality, and only then must we try to explain it in terms of hard science, but fully knowing that we will never be able to explain it accurately, as they try to do on Earth, with super-simplified definitions which simply do not reflect what it really is. Time cannot be fully understood by any of us, simply because it would only reflect the level of consciousness awareness we are at, and will not reflect how it is perceived and experienced from higher levels, or higher realms, even to the point where I can say that time can never be fully understood, unless you are at the level of Source, of oneness itself. As time is a perception, and not something anyone can manipulate directly, the problem of time travel must be addressed differently. It must be approached from the angle of manipulating the perception of time, of the conscious and aware subject, who will experience it. There is no material world, there is no matter as such, all there is are awareness levels, and different abilities of each conscious and aware subject, to create its own reality, which in turn will be interpreted by that subject as their reality, including the illusory external world they think they live in. Everything that exists is consciousness, as the primordial substance from which everything else is created. And the only way we can even attempt to start to explain how consciousness works, is through vibrations and frequency as variations of consciousness itself, vibrations and their frequency in a medium that is the ether, which is consciousness again. And those vibrations and their frequency can only be interpreted seeing them as a flow in the ether as a medium, and that flow is gravity. All this means that if time is only a perception, and does not exist as an isolated thing, the only way to travel in time is to manipulate the perception of whoever is experiencing it, and this would be the time traveler, as a conscious and aware subject. The only way to time travel is to trick the mind of the subject, not attempt to manipulate the larger field, or existential realm, which that mind is experiencing. There is only the now, as the past is gone, and the future is not here yet, and will never be here, as when it arrives it will transform itself into more of the now. The now is also always happening one step behind, because by the time we are conscious of it, it already happened, even if by only a few fractions of a second. Then I must describe what the now is, but from the point of view of the subject's experience, or the point of view of the external world the subject is perceiving. Let me use this example as follows. If we here in 2024 have one particular room with no windows, with very specific interior decoration, and with all its original objects in the exact same position as they were in the year 1945, inside that room, there is no difference at all with how it was in the year 1945, because it is exactly the same. In terms of what the observer is experiencing, there is no difference at all, therefore inside that room, and only there, it is the year 1945 for all practical purposes. We can theoretically move a man from 1945 and insert him there, and he won't see any difference. For him and his mind, it is 1945. The only way you can convince him that it is not 1945 is if you open the door and show him the world as it is in 2024. Again, time is only a perception. Moving along, this time it is you, from 2024, who is in that room with a closed door. Everything around you is telling you that it is 1945, but you know, with your awareness, that it is not. But it is you and your mind who decide what year you are living, not anything else. My point is that time is only relative to the observer and its level of awareness. I will explain next how real-time travel is done, and in detail, but in the next video, because it simply is not possible to place everything into only one, because if I don't stop writing here, I will not have the time to transform this text into a video for tomorrow. Thank you for your patience. Remember, I wrote this the very day before it was published, therefore my videos cannot have complex illustrative images, simply because I prefer to give you content, and not simply images to look at. That's why I hardly use any CGI. What matters is the text, my words, the content. Perhaps I could make more elaborate videos, but I would not be able to publish them daily, perhaps only once a week, and I have too much to share with you to go that slow, so no, I prefer to write. Thank you for watching my video, and for liking, sharing and subscribing. I appreciate it a lot. And I hope to see you here next time. Take care. With much love, your friend, Mari Swaruu.